That's all I ever heard. I'm trying to dispel the myth I heard growing up in the industry. That's all I ever heard, so I did it. Full of guys with cameras and MWAX, mom with the camera, all these people out there with cameras. You cannot shoot a wedding with natural light only. When the market is so diluted and we have a lack of educated photographers, what are we saying to the clients out there? You can pay dirt cheap rates for anything. So you're telling me as a photographer you're never going to shoot at night. You're telling me you're not going to shoot indoors. Can't make money. Get a real job. Pros want you to think it's like the Illuminati, and you guys, if you don't know this stuff, don't be embarrassed. Many of us didn't. All of us didn't. Ooh, can it overpower the sun? Oh, how many watt seconds is it? See, we always talk about adding light, but we never talk about subtracting what's bad. Shade is not the answer. Proper lighting is the answer. Who the hell is shooting at 2 p.m. when there's no diffused light? That's not artistic expression. That's ignorance. Anytime you take advice from somebody, you need to make sure they are a working pro. So whatever you guys do, I want you to think about that as we talk today. Think about ways for you guys to utilize the tools that we talk about to make more money. I love natural light. I've made many videos about natural light. I love natural light. Let me get that out of the way. What is the trend in the industry right now? Natural light. It's beautiful. And for the 1 hour a day that it's good, it's the best in the world. You can't beat it. You can't. Why do I always say 1 hour? What time is sunrise, y'all? What time is sunrise? 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever time of the year, right? Who wakes up at that time? Now, okay, one guy raised his hand. Perfect. Now here's the follow-up. What clients are you going to get to wake up at that time? Nobody. Right? You may get 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000, right? There's always some anecdotal evidence of somebody who went out and did some sunrise shoot. That's fine. Let's talk about in real terms what's going on. That's not going to happen. So what you're doing in a world full of photographers, full of guys with cameras and GWCs and all of these derogatory terms like MWAX, mom with the camera, all these people out there with cameras. Which, by the way, I think those terms aren't very kind. I think anybody who wants to pursue their goals as a photographer should be encouraged. That's my take. I think if a mom wants to kill it and she wants to slaughter some arrogant dude who's thinking, oh, I'm better than you just because I've been doing it for 30 years and you're a mom, I'd tell the mom, kick his butt. Go for it. Trample him. But in a world where we have so many photographers, so many wannabe photographers, so many people who want to do so much, you're telling me you're going to limit yourself to 1 hour a day to shoot. Is that a smart business move? Come from the hotel industry. What if we're only open 1 hour a day? You can stay at our hotel. But you can stay here as long as you want. But you can only check in or check out between 4, or let's just do golden hour, between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. How ridiculous is it? Yet we've convinced ourselves that this is the way to go. I have lots of friends on YouTube. I do. I have lots of great friends on YouTube. But I need to say this just for the sake of you guys understanding out there who are watching these things. Please understand, when you are watching a lot of the things that you see on YouTube or blogs or whatever else, I'm going to challenge you guys, not for my sake. I'm not going to drop names because I'm not here to shame people. But what I want you to think about is, anytime you take advice from somebody, you need to make sure they are a working pro. Working pro. I don't care if you don't follow me, or don't listen to me, or don't ever watch one of my videos. Actually, I do. It kind of hurt my feelings. I hope you do. But if you don't, that's fine. Find someone else who does speak to you. Find somebody else who is a working pro. Because the truth of the matter is, there are many people online teaching who are giving a lot of advice, but it's not real practical for you to actually make money. And that's an honest truth. So when you're looking at that advice, you're like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do that sun flare and this coming in and coming out. Guys, you cannot shoot a wedding with natural light only. You can't. That is the truth. When you see wedding images and it's a natural light shot, you know what they're doing? They're doing a natural light shoot and they're having a second photographer shoot the reception. That's truth. What do they do to it? It's mind-boggling to me. So when we talk, I want it to be framed around those things. I want you to understand that. And it's okay if they do that. It really is. I really believe in everyone pursuing what they want to pursue. I just don't want you to go on the wrong track because of it. Because there were people throughout my career that when I was coming up that I felt either A, encouraged me to go the right way, or set me on a path that was the wrong path and it wasted my time and it made me upset. Because I don't have time. Right? I didn't start photography when I was, I started shooting since I was a kid, but I didn't start as a pro until I was 30. So I don't have time to waste. I have a career, I have a world to conquer, right? Other thing that I want to touch on with you guys is we need to get over the statement of our artistic expression. It's idiotic. Okay, it is. And I'm not saying that, you guys, if you followed me for any length of time, you'll know that I very much believe in myself. And I definitely feel like I have a vision that I want the world to see. And luckily, there's a good amount of people who enjoy it. There is artistic expression, and that is very true, but we have used it as an excuse for mediocrity. That's some stone cold truth right there, guys. We use it as an excuse. Oh, that's just what I wanted to do. That's not true. You just don't know what you're doing. Oh, how were you to tell me? I wanted to spray all that light all over the floor. No, you didn't. You just don't know better. Yes, I do. I meant to go for that. And what I want to do is and I mean it, I want to lovingly put my arms around them and say, I know you're lying and it's okay because you're embarrassed. But if you really get over that, if you get over that embarrassment, I can actually help you get better. I can help you make money. It's not making fun of them. It's I want to break past that barrier and help you make money. I really do. Because when the market is so diluted and we have a lack of educated photographers, what are we saying to the clients out there? You can pay dirt cheap rates for anything. So if we're able to raise the bar, all of us make more money. It's like, wow, there's so many good photographers now. I have to pay if I want to do this. Right? So when we're looking at lighting, guys, one thing that I've really gone towards with the Rotolights has been cinematic type lighting. When you watch a movie that's a great movie, now I'm not talking about story and all that stuff and plot holes and all, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about aesthetics right now, okay? When you look at a movie that's really well done, do you see light where it doesn't belong? I remember I was watching Return of the Jedi and I drove my sons crazy because it was the part where Darth Vader had just had his mask taken off and Luke was looking at him, and I'm watching it with my sons and I couldn't stop saying it. Look at that Rembrandt lighting, look at that Rembrandt lighting, it's amazing. My kids are like, Dad, shut up, seriously, you're ruining the movie. If you guys look at the movies that are visually stunning, they get it. They don't put up with mediocrity at the high level of cinematography. They don't. So yet, we make excuses. If they do natural light, they kill it. If they do artificial light, they kill it. In other words, that's another example. What movie's going to film all natural light? Now, there's going to be some example out there, but I'm talking about the 80-90% out there. So you're telling me as a photographer you're never going to shoot at night. You're telling me you're not going to shoot indoors. Oh, I'll shoot with an 85-1.4. Okay, great. I have news to tell you. Inside of a reception hall, that's not going to cut it. Oh, I'll still get something amazing. Okay, sure. How are you going to focus? See, that's the point I'm making. Any guy who's worked, or gal who's worked in the industry for any length of time can instantaneously put holes in those arguments. Oh, I've shot weddings like that. No, you haven't. I know you haven't, because that's not possible. Just like it'd be ridiculous for me to walk up to Steven Spielberg and say, oh, I've done this in a movie. He'd say, no, you haven't. Because I'd say something ridiculous because I don't know movies. And he'd say, no, you haven't done that. I can just tell by what you said that you have not done that. And the point I'm trying to make to you guys is stop making excuses, because at the end of the day, Forget about what I have to say up here, regardless of brand, regardless of anything. You're hurting yourself. I mean, if you think that this is not applicable to you, and that I'm just some guy who likes to stir the dust, I'm not. I'm a guy who wants people to be successful. I really am. And so when you guys are out there, ask yourself, how can this benefit me? What is the ROI on this? So when we talk about gear, when we talk about how we're going to improve ourselves, we need to look at those things. And let's look at some of the trends in the industry with this whole big, huge move towards natural light only. And I'm phrasing it as such, natural light only, not natural light. I love natural light. I shoot it all the time. If I get onto a scene and natural light's there, do you think I pull something else out? Just for the sake of saying, oh, I have to shoot strobe. Do you think I do that? No way. That's stupid. It's stupid. I only pull out what I need. Nothing more, nothing less. See, if you guys train yourselves to develop techniques that enable you to have consistent results, you will be very successful. You will be very successful. If, on the other hand, you are all over the map, you don't know what to shoot, you don't know how to light, you are going to struggle mightily. You guys know at this point in time, I've been running around doing all these shootouts with other big photographers. I just did one with Irene Rudnick, a natural light only photographer, lovely lady who produces beautiful work. She's admitted, and I don't mind sharing this because she's admitted it in the video, that she doesn't shoot for clients. And she chooses not to. She wants to only do YouTube. And I mean it. All the more power to her. I hope to be able to do future projects with her. But she'll tell you she doesn't shoot for clients. So if you're going to shoot for clients, that's not the only option out there, guys. That's what you need to know. You know, I'm going to go do a shootout with an NFL photographer at an NFL game in 10 days. I'm going to go do a shootout with a baby photographer in New York in 3 weeks. I'm doing all these things to show photographers that if you understand lighting and if you understand how to do it, you can shoot anything and you can make yourself so valuable. So valuable. That's how you make money, guys. So who in here wants to make money at photography? So those who did not raise your hand, so just for the camera's sake, about 80% raise their hand, 85. Those, are you guys rich? The ones who didn't raise their hands? I mean, even if it's just a hobby, you got to make something so you can pay for the hobby, unless you're rich. And we do have rich people who come to these, so. But that's what I want you guys to wrap your heads around. I never planned on being a full-time photographer. I think a lot of us in that room would fit that mold, right? Is that a fair statement? I don't think there's a lot of us who are currently in the industry who said, you know what, I'm going to be a professional photographer. I loved it when I was a kid, and what did my parents say to me? Can't make money. Get a real job. So I did. I went up, I became a hotel guy and general manager of hotels, and I was all sorts of stuff, flying all over the world, had a great time. And I'm grateful I did it because it gave me the business background to apply it to what I do now. If our intention is to make money, which will fund our gear and help us to achieve the dreams, however big or small that they are, we have to know lighting. We have to know lighting. I know many professional sports photographers. The truth is the vast majority of pros working out there do multiple genres, even if you don't know it. You know, a lot of sports photographers do portrait photography. So they can't get away with just saying, oh, I only use the light that's provided at a stadium. There's not enough money there, guys. That's just the truth. I know these guys. There's not enough money in sports photography just to say, I'm only going to work during the NFL season or during the NBA season. There's not enough money there. And here's another truth. Guys, these big sports teams and stuff, they don't pay a lot to people. They don't pay a lot to cheerleaders. They don't pay a lot to anybody. All the money goes towards people who are already filthy rich. So everyone else out there, they're making money the hard way. They're earning it. So they have to have secondary genres that they shoot. I was a natural light only photographer, right? I did that for about a year or two, and then I figured out, you know what? I got to figure out how to do lighting. Lighting isn't difficult. Exposure isn't difficult. We call it an exposure triangle. I don't even think it's a triangle. I think it's just really two things, right? Because ISO, when do we touch ISO, guys?
When we first start our shoot, very beginning of the shoot.
Right, but that's very true. I always say when I teach the workshops, you start, ISO is your first and last thing that you touch. Why is it the first?
You're adjusting it for where you're at.
Well, it's the first because if you were shooting late at night the night before, you don't want to screw up and do a day shoot at 6,400. Okay? I'm not just trying to be funny. I'm telling you, this is how I approach things. I'm a very common sense approach guy. So,
Sounds like somebody did that once.
no, I 100 maybe.
He meant to do that.
Meant to do that. You guys want to know another truth? It's funny. This is the straight up truth, that Irene Rudnick video that you're going to see coming out. I always 100% shoot in raw. The night before I did an event for Sony and I was tethered and we were showing off the A9, and when we show off the A9 and I'm tethered, we want the images to go through the computer quicker, so I changed it to JPEG. I did that whole shoot in JPEG. And when I saw that, I was mortified. So I'm like, I hope, I know myself, but I'm like, these shots better be good because I don't have a lot of latitude to edit them. I was mortified. I'm like, JPEG, what's going on? I tried to import it like 4 times. I'm like, where are the raw, where are the raw, where are the raw? So yeah, it happens. So check your ISO first. So if your ISO is all the way down, you're good to go because we should shoot with our native ISO. The ISO only gets moved when we have to, I call it the release valve. We have no other options. We're shooting as slow as we can, handheld, and we've gone as wide as we can, aperture-wise. So ISO stays put until we need to move it. That is, when people say they can't shoot in manual, I'm telling the world out there, I'm telling you guys, this is how you do it. It is, pros want you to think it's like the Illuminati and, Da Vinci Code and all that. It's not, okay? Then we have 2 things left. What are they? Aperture and our shutter speed, right? But keeping it simple, we just break it down to our subject matter. What are we shooting? If I'm going to shoot portraits, what's my first consideration going to be? Our depth of field, our aperture, right? Now, there are certain circumstances where you're going to shoot more narrowed down, yes. But guys, are you serious? You're going to drop $2,000 on a lens and shoot it at 2.8. You're going to buy 1.4 and shoot at 2.8. Are you on drugs? You just did the camera companies the biggest favor in the world. See, when I buy a lens, it better be good wide open. If it's not, somebody's going to get an angry video. Seriously. That's the biggest hoax of all time. These camera companies selling us lenses that are crappy wide open. That's all I ever heard. I'm trying to dispel the myth I heard growing up in the industry. That's all I ever heard, so I did it. Oh, well, if you buy it at 1.4, you better shoot it at 1.8 or f2. Oh, okay, I'll do that. Then at one point I just said, I'm so sick of what everyone else says. This is moronic. Why am I doing this? Why did I drop $2,000 on a lens and it sucks? It's stupid. So when I shoot portraits, I shoot wide open. Now again, if you need further depth, if you need to add more people, more layers, yes, there are times you definitely narrow down. Absolutely. I'm narrowed down right now on that 85mm that's filming me. Why? I'm moving back and forth. There are certainly times. But if I'm shooting a portrait, it's wide open. It's wide open. Okay? So if we go all the way down or close to it, we go down to 1.4, 1.8, whatever it may be, what's the last thing we do? Shutter speed. Is a sports photographer going to approach the shot the same way? How's a sports photographer going to approach it?
Shutter speed first.
Shutter speed first. If you guys can wrap your heads around that your manual exposure should be set according to your subject matter, your shots are instantaneously going to improve. Because you're just setting a foundation. The ground is your ISO because you don't want to screw it up. And then if I know, like I said, I'm shooting that NFL game in 10 days, next thing is shutter. Last thing I want to do is get on my settings straight, and then I do my shutter at 2/50th of a second, and then those dudes run so freaking fast. They run by and it's blurred. Now I have this great shot that's messed up. So the rule of thumb with that kind of action photography is 800 or thousandths of a second or faster. But it just depends, right? And then what do we shoot, if we are doing portraits, what do we shoot handheld? What's the slowest?
60.
Yeah, 1/60th of a second, right? 1/60th of a second. You guys, if you don't know this stuff, don't be embarrassed. Many of us didn't. All of us didn't. Write it down. Now, I know Sony has the vaunted 5-axis image stabilization, and yes, it's awesome. Does that mean we can get away with shooting portraits at 1/10 or 1/5 of a second?
Possibly.
Not really. Why? The person is alive. Your subject is moving, guys. So again, the same thing, I watch these videos by all these guys who've never touched a client, and they're like, oh, you can shoot this at 1/5 a second? Yeah, if you're shooting a fire hydrant. No, seriously. That's why these videos crack me up. I watch it, okay, they never shoot. And guys, I'm gonna tell you this, as it relates to your photography, you need to get out of all of the program and priority modes. You need to understand your camera. And that's not me just saying, oh, I'm a big bad pro, shame, shame, shame. I could care less about that. I don't impact your daily life at all. I'm not over your shoulder watching what you do. I want you to be better. Do you know the feeling of confidence and calm that I have when I shoot? People always write to me and say, I hate you because you just walk around one-handed shooting and you get these insane shots. I hate you. People say you're such a lazy photographer. I'm like, dude, I'm the opposite of lazy, y'all. I work my butt off. But just because I walk around with my camera like this, they get annoyed. And I'm like, guys, it's just the way that I shoot. But that took years and years and years of practice. Right? You got to understand your settings. You got to understand manual. You got to understand all of the stuff if you're going to actually make it. Because I can walk into any given scenario and I can shoot it. I'm doing a commercial shoot in Chicago next week. No matter where we go, indoor, outdoor, rain, snow, no joke, I'll just shoot it. Oh, we want to capture this fast action stuff. Okay, great. I switch in my brain to, okay, shutter first. Okay, now we're doing portraits. Okay, aperture first. Okay, this person is this far away from this person. Okay, great. Now I need to narrow down my aperture. It sounds basic, but guys, most people don't do this. That's the truth, and it's sad. People watching this on YouTube, oh, most people, no, they don't. I think it's safe to say that I meet more photographers than almost anyone out there. I meet photographers all over the world every month. I meet thousands of photographers like this, face to face, every year. So I hear the stories and I know what you guys are struggling with. So when I give this advice, it's because I know the struggle exists out there. Who here uses a diffuser? Okay, so for the audience at home, that was about 15%. Who here uses a reflector? About the same, well, maybe 20% on that one. That's amazing to me. We talk so much in photography about adding light. We're obsessed with adding light. For those of us who do use artificial light, that's all we talk about. Oh, can it overpower the sun? Oh, how many watt seconds is it? They're a bunch of monkeys. It's the dumbest crap I've ever heard. I'm like, again, you don't get it. But we don't talk about something that's cheap, like a diffuser. $50. It'll change your photography. It will. It'll change your photography. If you're not using a diffuser, you need to buy one. You need to buy one. Get a 2-stop diffuser, guys. And I know this isn't sponsored by a diffuser company. Get a diffuser. It'll change your photography. It'll instantly cut down bad light. See, we always talk about adding light, but we never talk about subtracting what's bad. Back to what I was saying earlier about not shooting for just 45 minutes a day. I can go out right now. Light blows, right? Light's horrible right now. What is it, 2 o'clock right now? 2 o'clock. I can go out right now and create beautiful portraits. You guys are going to see a video that I did. I was out in Canada. I was in Windsor, Canada, which is across from Detroit. And the light was awful. It's disgusting. Because, you know, the thing I always get from people is, oh, that's nice. You have assistants and all this helpers. I don't have any of that. When I hear that, I'm like, guys, you got to think bigger. Number one, most of us, not all of us, most of us have at least $20. Do you know how much it takes to bribe a kid? A kid, I mean like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old college student. Hey, I'll buy you McDonald's and I'll give you $20 if you hold this for me for a couple hours. Okay. But yet, you don't have assistants. That's all I've ever done. I don't do that anymore. I do pay them more now. But you get my point? Think bigger. Stop making excuses for your failures. Oh, I can't because of this. Bull crap. My wife paid me the best compliment ever. You know what she told me? On that show Lost, she goes, you'd be the one mother freaker that would get off that island. You would. You'd get off of it. Even if everyone in that show was dead, you'd find a way to get back. It's about it's just finding your way to the top. It's that salmon fish who swims upstream against everything else, right? That's where it's at, guys. So I was in Windsor, I was shooting, and I had no assistants with me that day. I was by myself. I just was out there with a model by myself. The light was awful. I grabbed my Westcott illuminator, the 48 by 72 diffuser, and I literally jammed it in a tree. I'm afraid I'm going to ruin my diffuser. Get over it. It's $80. Oh, it must be nice being able to destroy gear. It's not nice. You can tell I just don't buy new stuff every time because there's like food stains and everything else on my diffusers. Mud stains, everything. That diffuser, you've seen me, guys, I do crazy stuff. We put it in the pool, we do everything. I'm like, if I'm going to buy this gear, this thing's going to work. Not using gear is like buying a car and not driving it because you don't want to put miles on it. It's ridiculous. Oh, which camera? You dropped your camera, you did this. Okay, whatever. And yes, I've been doing this crap well before I was sponsored, well before I would get any help or anything. Because I always thought if I make this image, if I do this stuff, I'm going to be able to make money at this. But if I'm so scared that I can't even use my gear, I'm not going to make anything. So I grabbed that diffuser, I put it in the tree, and I put the model underneath it. I had beautiful light. So if somebody came out with some magical product that could fire flash, think about, this would be the best-selling product of all time. If somebody came out with a product that would say, I guarantee this product will fire flash, doesn't matter, high speed, low speed, doesn't matter. Daytime, nighttime, but I have a product that'll cut down your light, it'll make it amazing for you, it'll provide nice even lighting for you and give you amazing catch light. Oh my gosh, $1,000, $2,000, it's already there, $50. It's a diffuser. I use diffusers daytime, nighttime, no matter what it is, I'm using diffusers. Why do movies have to, why do cinematographers, why do they have to use diffusers? They're using diffusers because they're using constant light. They can't flash. You know what I mean? It sounds ridiculous to think of a movie with Brad Pitt walking through in this strobe, right? So they have to use continuous light, and because they're using continuous light, they have to diffuse it. How do you think they get beautiful light? How many times you guys think, I want you to study movies after you watch this, after you listen to this, you're sitting here, or those watching at home, watch a movie and try to study it. I do it all the time. I'm like, that's mimicked sunlight right there. But it's done very well. It's done very well, right? What about reflectors, guys? Same thing. If I walk outside right now at midday sun, it sucks right now. The lighting is awful. There's no color in the sky, no saturation. It sucks. I take a diffuser out, I put it over my subject's head, which cuts the light. The first step is always cutting out bad light. No matter what you do, it's like I've lost a lot of weight, right? First thing you got, how do you lose all that weight? Stop eating crap. See, that's like photography. We're like, hey, I'm gonna work out. You can work out all you want. See, the working out, I like this analogy. The working out is adding all the lights. But if we don't cut what's bad out of our diet, we ain't losing weight. You'll be one of those guys at the gym, and believe me, I see him, who has big arms and the biggest gut you've ever seen. You got to cut out the bad stuff if you're going to get to the good stuff. If you can start wrapping your head around that, your photography will get better. Now, one thing a lot of natural light only photographers do, and I'm not making fun of them. I'm sure there's some of you in this room and some of you watching this. I want you to learn from this so you can get better and you can make money. I'm not making fun of you. Natural light only photographers, if it's really horrible light, they go out and they shoot under a tree. What's the difference between shooting under shade versus shooting under diffused light? What is the difference on their face? When you use shade only, which is what natural light only photographers have to do, you are losing your light source. You have no light source. Think about that. You're cutting out the very thing that you need to make great shots. See, when you diffuse that light's coming in, you're just making it soft and beautiful. So all of a sudden, like I said earlier, now you have catch light, now you have nice even tones coming down. You're taking that beautiful light source, which is why I recommend getting a 2-stop diffuser, and you're cutting it, and now you have beautiful light coming down on the face, right? Shade is not the answer. Proper lighting is the answer. So now you've cut that light. Now what's the next step?
After you cut it down, you can reflect light, shoot back to your subject.
Absolutely. So we already have a solution that involves a diffuser and a reflector. I'm not trying to break your banks here, guys. We're talking about a diffuser is 80 bucks, and we're talking about a diffuser that's a bigger diffuser is 80 bucks. You can get something like this, the 5-in-1 reflector kit. It's like, I don't know, I didn't check the price, but it's got to be 50, 60 bucks, somewhere around there, 70 bucks, something like that. So I'd say natural light only photographers, that's the base of all great photography. But then when you've progressed to the next step where you're starting to diffuse bad light and reflect good light, because you can reflect that diffused light back, right? If you actually put that reflector opposite of that diffuser, now you're reflecting really soft light back, right? Now you're creating great light. That's what you do when it's midday sun. When people go crazy with me over, oh, does this light overpower the sun? You know what my response is? Who the hell is shooting at 2 p.m. when there's no diffused light? Why are you shooting right now? That's the most horrible light. Now there are certain times where you're not going to have a choice. I know that because I grew up in the school of wedding photography. The school of hard knocks. I think some of the best photographers in the world come out of wedding photography because you have to shoot so many different types of photography in one field. You have to be a photojournalist. You have to know posing. You have to know portraits. And if you're good, you'll know landscapes because you are going to set your exposure for your ambient. And then you're going to add light. So going in wedding photography, yes, even though we have our best recommendations and we tell a client, hey, you should get married at 5 o'clock, that's when good light is. Oh, I'm not doing that. I got to do it. My wedding coordinator says I got to do this. Okay, great. You know what and not straight up, I say, that's okay, honey. Just understand the light really sucks. That's why you're here. Guys, I'm very open with my clients, and I'll say, I'm a great photographer, but I'm not God. I mean, I can't change the laws of light. The truth is, at 2 p.m., the light blows. Well, what do you want me to do? Change your time. I don't want to change my time. Okay, that's fine. It really is. But understand you're going to have raccoon eyes. Because it's much better for you to explain it to your client before it happens than after. Oh, why did that happen? No, I told you that. I told you that was going to happen. Remember when I told you getting married in the middle of August on top of a hill? Where you have the sun beating down on you and you have those specular highlights that look like you got shot? I told you not to do that. See, great photographers it's like a lawyer. I'm just here to inform you of what's going to happen if you do it. You can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what's going to happen if you do. Yes, I totally agree we need to learn how to overpower the sun. We need to know how to shoot when the situation stinks. I've made my most recent video out right now is I share an example when I shot a wedding in Catalina 9 years ago, right? And I showed a shot of the bride and groom. They wanted a shot. They did a first look. This is before the ceremony. And this is when I was a natural light only photographer. So see, I am talking to I understand the excuses I used to make, is what I'm trying to tell you guys. So I'd be out there and I was shooting, and the shadows on them are so harsh and so unfavorable. Just because I didn't know how to use a speed light that would overpower the sun. That's not artistic expression. That's ignorance. Big difference. So we add that light, we come out and shoot, and now we get into the better times to shoot, right? The vast majority of us are going to shoot at the more optimal times to shoot. And when they're not optimal, we need to make them optimal. The commercial shoot that I'm doing in a week, we start at 9 a.m. and we go till 6 p.m., 2 days. I have to know how to light morning, afternoon, and night. The reason I get paid, and it does pay very well, the reason commercial shoots pay well is because those photographers who do them understand light. If you don't want to charge $1,500 for a wedding, if you want to charge $10,000 for a wedding or whatever it may be, you have to understand light. You have to have those shots that make people stop, that make people say, oh my gosh. What makes somebody say, oh my gosh, on a shot? It's light. It's light in the moment. It has to have a soul to it, don't get me wrong. But if the lighting's off, it doesn't matter, right? Well, I'm excellent at posing. Well, your lighting blows. Work on your lighting. So how many of you in this room use our artificial light? That's maybe 40%. When in the world of photography, let me dispel a few things that we tend to tell ourselves. And I remember this. I remember being a newer photographer, and this just shows you how stupid I was. You guys still here? Hello? Talking to you. Hey guys, if you want to learn online with me, go to patreon.com/JasonLanierPhotography, and you will be able to continue this craziness online from anywhere on planet Earth with me. If you want to join me live, go to JasonLanier.com/workshops, and you'll get to see me in my full glory live and in person, guys. I think there's a smudge on there. Is that it? Yeah, I got it. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.